let's talk about Trump and the big announcement yesterday, because natural gas is one thing. And then there's coal, the forgotten coal miner. And this is what I thought about when Trump came out and prioritized this, both during the campaign and once he was president. I thought about Hillary Clinton and when he first was running for president against her. And she promised to devastate the coal industry. She wanted to kill coal. Do we have that? I'm just wondering if we have that on tape. Yeah, we do. Here it is. Watch this.
I'm the only candidate which has a policy about how to bring economic opportunity using clean, renewable energy as the key into coal country. Because we're going to put a lot of coal miners and coal companies out of business. Right, Tim? And we're going to make it clear that we don't want to forget those people. Those people labored in those mines for generations, losing their health, often losing their lives to turn on our lights and power our factories. Now we've got to move away from coal and all the other fossil fuels. But I don't want to move away from the people who did the best they could to produce the energy that we relied on.
Okay. The coal industry did not vote for Hillary Clinton. Barbara Streisand would later say to me directly at a party, I don't understand. She literally said, how could the coal miners vote for Trump? I said, Barbara, she promised to put them all out of work. What are you saying? But they didn't understand. They thought Republicans, people like Barbara Streisand say Republicans, well, they hate coal miners. They hate working class. So how would they ever vote for him? Hello? And in comes Trump. And yesterday, I'll just play one soundbite. There's so many to choose from, but take a listen to SOT 9.
Today, we're taking historic action to help American workers, miners, families, and consumers. We're ending Joe Biden's war on beautiful, clean coal once and for all. And it wasn't just Biden, it was Obama, and there were others. But we're doing the exact opposite. And all those plants that have been closed are going to be opened. If they're modern enough, or they'll be ripped down and brand new ones will be built. We're going to put the miners back to work. And I said I was going to do this. And I've said it loud and clear. And it's time to do it. And we need it.
It's quite an image, Lee, of those guys in the hard hats who have been kicked around for far too long, standing behind the president. So what does this mean as a practical matter?
And you can feel it being in the room there with these workers. They've been waiting a long time to have people out there like President Trump defending, sticking up for their livelihood, for their family, for their community. And if you're sitting around a candidate and it's a campaign team, you're looking at the latest poll and you're trying to figure out the right message, strangulating the economy is never a good idea for anyone around that table. And if someone is naive, dumb enough to talk about it, you would expect the rest of them to try to stop them. And in this case, President Trump gets elected. He campaigned on this issue, so a mandate was earned, and he won big, not just the Electoral College, but also the popular vote. And President Trump comes in, he declares an emergency, an energy emergency, signs an executive order, creates a National Energy Dominance Council with also Doug Burgum from from the Department of Interior, Chris Wright from the Department of Energy, myself, and other agencies. And we're working together to unleash energy dominance and permitting reform, making America the AI capital of the world. All of these priorities and working together. 4 weeks ago today, EPA announced what amounts to the largest deregulatory action in the history of the country. One agency, largest deregulatory action ever, trillions of dollars of regulatory relief coming over the course of 2025.
For which industries? Give me a couple examples.
Coal. Coal is certainly one. It's a big one, but you also have it impacting mobile source energy, vehicles. You have other forms of stationary source energy that Hillary Clinton was talking about in that segment to get rid of. And what's so important in understanding what Hillary Clinton was saying was the concept of getting rid of base load power and replacing it with what is intermittent sources of energy. When Hillary Clinton says get rid of coal and natural gas and whatnot, she is and talking about moving towards these other forms, that you're talking about something like wind. Now, wind is an intermittent source. You can use it to supplement your baseload power, but it's not a substitute for it. So these deregulatory actions that we announced are with regards to a number of Biden-era regulations from the last year or two of his time in office that didn't just accidentally result in these companies needing to go out of business. It was intentionally drafted to destroy these coal plants. It is to put them out of business.
You heard it in the Hillary soundbite. The Democrats, Obama, Hillary, and Biden, and I'm sure Kamala too, have made it a mission to ruin coal. They hate oil too. I mean, they don't like any sort of fossil fuel energy. Obviously, Kamala Harris had said she wanted to ban fracking and then lied and said that she had reversed herself on that. But in any event, they've been on a mission to make us reliant on windmills and solar panels. This is their big, and depending on the car, batteries, no longer Teslas. But this is, this is the backbone of American energy and industry since our founding and since the industrial age. So this is how the New York Times is pitching it, though. This is in their write-up. They talk about how coal is a pollutant, of course. The most polluting of all fossil fuels when burned, accounts for roughly 40% of the world's industrial carbon dioxide emissions, the main driver of global warming. Then they say over the past 2 decades, the use of coal has fallen precipitously in the U.S. Like, gee, it just fell out of favor, Lee. I don't know, like people just naturally moved away from it. They say as utilities have switched to cheaper and cheaper electricity sources like natural gas, wind, and solar power. That transition has been the biggest reason for the drop in U.S. emissions since 2005. Now, you tell me you know much more about this than I do, but my understanding is the reason that there has been a lot of switching to wind and solar is because the government has been propping up those industries, notwithstanding the fact that almost nobody wants them.
Amen. And during the Obama administration, he was putting out regulations out of the Biden EPA that were intentionally trying to get rid of coal. President Trump gets elected. He comes in office. He reverses it. Supreme Court weighs in West Virginia versus EPA. They say that what the President Obama EPA did was unconstitutional. President Biden comes in and then he goes back to what Obama was trying to do by design, getting rid of these sources of energy to force America to move towards wind power. Now, what that does is it harms the economy, the people who can least afford it, Americans who are faced with the decision of whether or not to heat their home, fill up their fridge with groceries, get prescription drugs that they need. Instead of saying all of the above, they have to pick and choose. If you want to get an electric vehicle, go get an electric vehicle. But maybe for your neighbor, they don't want an electric vehicle. They want a gas-powered vehicle. One of the other consequences of this energy policy is that it's eliminating choice. In a state like New York, they would ban gas hookups on new construction statewide. We were just talking about how they wouldn't allow the safe extraction of natural gas. They won't approve all sorts of essential new pipelines to transport these sources of energy. This is all by design. President Trump comes in, and when he talks about a solution for energy, we're talking about national security, the environment, the economy, considering it all. We need to protect the environment and grow the economy. This isn't a binary choice anymore. All of the above also means choosing both protecting the environment and protecting the economy, protecting opportunity with a golden age for all of America. This is the path, I believe strongly, not the one that seeks to suffocate the economy, cutting out all these sources of energy with no substitute. The last thing I would say is that some of these Democrats are now talking about how they agree with President Trump that we should make America the AI capital of the world. Well, how the heck do you think that's possible if you keep getting rid of all of these baseload power?
Yeah, we need energy for that. Okay, you mentioned wind. We've got to spend a minute on it because this is the bane of my existence. We spend our summers at the Jersey Shore, and there has been a massive dispute there. You cannot go 2 feet without seeing a sign about the windmills that are coming, the wind turbines on the wind farm that are coming to South Jersey. Unfortunately, I don't think this particular group of wind turbines is going to be stopped by President Trump's executive order, which he issued right upon taking office, saying anything that's not yet been permitted and that's still in process of being permitted is halted on wind turbines. We're stopping. The offshore ones in particular are stopping because for, among other reasons, they're apparently killing a bunch of whales And they're toxic. Last summer in Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard, one fell. The blades of these things are the size of a 747. Like it's longer. The wingspan is longer than the wingspan of a 747. Anyway, they fell into the ocean. There was toxins everywhere. The people couldn't go swimming. That's just one windmill, one turbine. So how are we going to stop more of these things from polluting our land, because they take up so much land, polluting our waters, killing our our sea life like our whales, because it's full steam ahead for the ones that weren't swept up in the EO.
Right. And at these different agencies, we're implementing President Trump's guidance to us that he doesn't want any more permits for any of these windmills. Now, there have been a lot of windmills over the course of not just months and years, but even decades that have gone up around America. And I think that there's somewhat of a difference in the way that some Democratic governors talk about this versus others. We've spent a lot of time talking about how this is not a substitute for baseload power. Some Democratic governors agree with that, and they say that out loud. Well, they need to get the memo to the rest of the people out there who are articulating this as if it's a substitute, because it's not. As far as some of those windmills that are already up, or they're much further along with approvals already secured, that's not something that I received any guidance from President Trump that's different from what he's already put out. We stand by ready to implement his agenda. That's our job, is to implement the Trump mandate. And that's why there haven't been any new approvals since he put that EO out.
Good. Let's stop it. I don't care if they got the permit right. In this case, they got it right before Trump took office, but it's not yet built, and it shouldn't be. It's such a pollutant. It's a disgusting eyesore. It's one thing if you put these off where nobody can see them. But I mean, the East Coast it's absolutely gorgeous. It's the Gold Coast of America. It's spectacular. Why would we litter it with these ugly, disgusting windmills that, if they fall, because there will be accidents, ruin the swimming, endanger the sea life? You heard Trump talking about how they kill the whales on Joe Rogan. He's right. They mocked him. He was totally right about it. It's torture for these poor whales who are underwater, and they can hear the click, 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 click of hundreds or thousands of these things. It's just one of Trump's many right-headed priorities. Tariff wars, stubborn inflation. No wonder gold has been routinely hitting all-time highs. In volatile markets like the one we have now, don't sit on the sidelines with your head in the sand. You can take control and safeguard your savings. Aren't you thinking about that today? That's why so many Americans today are turning to Birch Gold Group. They've helped tens of thousands convert an existing IRA or 401k into one in physical gold. Is it time for you to hedge against economic instability or market instability with gold? To learn how to own physical gold in a tax-sheltered account, text MK to the number 989898. Birch Gold will send you a free, no-obligation info kit. Again, just text MK to the number 989898. With an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau and countless five-star reviews, Birch Gold has helped many protect their savings with gold. It took us decades to get into the tangled mess we're trying to unpack right now. How long will it take to get out of it? And at what cost? Text MK to 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.